Hey everyone, welcome back for this episode of Repressed Viewer Issues. I'm your forever lovely host, Applesauce McBoss, not the boss, Ryan.
And I'm Huge Ackman, who rhymes with Pulverine. I'm Dan.
It's so stupid.
It's a Deadpool joke.
I know, it's just so stupid. Oh, but yes,
Okay.
this is our first international edition, which I think is, we're gonna call it a highlight of our day.
Okay.
It might be a low light of your day.
I was just figuring that it was us doing what we do, not that it had to be a highlight of our day.
I just want to call it out specifically, but I'm in Mariol, Sweden, and I know that is not the country Mariol goes with.
And I'm in non-communist United States.
For now.
And today is our mini-sode for Celebrity Cage Match. We're going to go through round 2, winners and losers.
Yes. So it was a hairy battle this last time around. Some surprises, I think, in there, but some that were expected, I would say.
So let's get right to it. So in our first battle, if you remember, Tinky Winky fought Shia LaBeouf in the first round, and Tinky Winky won. Bill Cosby and Matt Lauer threw down, and Matt Lauer won. So our first fight today is Tinky Winky versus Matt Lauer. Now, if you remember, all of these fight scenes are AI generated. We're not saying which AI because we don't want to get in trouble with it, but there's some funny stuff in this. So I'm just going to go directly into it. Excuse me. The plush air of Teletubby Land crackled with an unexpected tension. Gone were the days of giggling suns and tubby custard. Today, the verdant meadows echoed with the smack of leather and the gruff grunts of unlikely combatants. Tinky Winky, the enigmatic purple Tinky Teletubby, known for his oversized handbag and even larger vocabulary, stood squaring off against none other than Matt Lauer, the disgraced anchorman whose predatory past had finally caught up with him. Matt, lured by the rumors of Teletubby's bountiful tubby toast, had stumbled into their idyllic world seeking refuge, but his charm offensive, honed in years of navigating the treacherous waters of morning television, met its match in Tinky Winky's quiet stoicism. When Matt, emboldened by a misplaced sense of superiority, attempted to manhandle Dipsy for an interview, Tinky Winky's lavender patience snapped. With a surprising swiftness that belied his rotund frame, Tinky Winky unleashed a fury of handbag foo. The once pristine purple purse transformed into a blur of leathery fury, deflecting Matt's fumbling jabs with practiced ease. Each well-placed thump of the bag sent Matt reeling, his carefully coiffed hair now a comical mess of spikes. Lala and Poe, initially wide-eyed with shock, roared with newfound support for their purple comrade. Their high-pitched cheers echoed across the land, bolstering Tinky Winky's resolve. With a final, decisive swing of his handbag, Tinky Winky sent Matt sprawling into a patch of giggling flowers. The disgraced anchor, defeated and dusted with pollen, slunk away, muttering about the unfairness of Teletubby justice. It continues. Tinky Winky, ever the pragmatist, dusted himself off and adjusted his iconic antenna. Peace once again settled over Teletubby Land. The sun giggled with renewed fever, and the tubby custard tasted sweeter than ever. As for Matt Lauer, his unwelcome presence became a cautionary tale whispered around bonfires, a reminder that even in the land of Teletubbies, evil does not always triumph over the power of a well-placed handbag.
What in the fuck was that?
So, again, we are doing this AI stuff. We didn't do it all beforehand. So this is coming up in real time. And this is an evolution over what we saw in the last episode. It's gotten much, much, much more detailed. So I'm waiting to see what happens with the next ones, because that was really interesting, some of the detail level it came up with.
Yeah. That was all right.
But for the record, Tinky Winky advances, and Matt Lauer belongs in prison.
Okay, well, I guess all I'm going to do this entire episode is giggle. So this should be a great episode. All right. So I have the honor of doing the next fight, second fight. And in this case, it's what the Metro City Madman, Ted Nugent. Is that right? Did I get that right?
The Motor City Madman.
Ah, it was so close, so close. I don't like Ted Nugent anyway. Versus Will Smith, who I also don't like.
And who could beat you up, but you for some reason think you can beat him up.
It's not been proven at all. At all. All right, let me try to get through all this giggling. My God, what's wrong with me?
Okay, so just for the record, Ted Nugent got here by beating up C-3PO, and Will Smith got here by beating up Dr. Oz.
Yeah. Man, the Dr. Oz was a good beating. Okay, let's see what we have. Nugent, a mulleted marauder in a leopard print Speedo.
Wow, yeah. That is an image nobody wanted.
Well, we got it. Strutted onto the Oscar stage, his presence a beacon of chaotic energy. Across the room, Smith, the epitome of Hollywood chic in a sharp suit, stood frozen in disbelief, his brows furrowed like a confused bulldog. The stage became a battlefield of absurdities. Nugent's guitar swinging wildly like a windmill gone rogue, Smith flailing about like a fish out of water, his slapstick karate moves as effective as a marshmallow against a brick wall. Nugent.
So AI does not like Will Smith's fighting style.
Nope.
Not that it liked Ted Nugent's, but Ted Nugent's not known for his fighting style.
But they really, really don't like Will Smith. Nugent, his voice raspier than a rusty chainsaw, roared about liberal conspiracies, his mullet swaying like a deranged cobra, while Smith, dodging guitar swings with the agility of a pinball in a pinball machine, tried to land a punch, but his blows were as futile as a butterfly against a tank. Wow, they're really into these soft things and hard surfaces as metaphors. The crowd watched in stunned amusement, their laughter echoing through the auditorium like a chorus of hyenas on helium. Then, in a moment that would forever be etched in Oscar history, Nugent whipped out his trusty harmonica, unleashing a solo so atrocious it sounded like a horde of cats being strangled by kazoos. The audience erupted in a cacophony of laughter, tears streaming down their faces, while Will, unable to bear the auditory assault, dropped like a stone, hitting the orchestra pit with a resounding thud. Nugent, his mullet standing triumphantly on end, smirked like a mischievous leprechaun, strumming his guitar as the crowd's laughter subsided. Smith emerged from the pit covered in dust and smelling faintly of violin strings, his once dapper suit now looking like it had survived a tornado. From that day on, Nugent became the undisputed king of the Oscars, the Nuge who vanquished the Fresh Prince with a harmonica solo so bad it made even the most stoic celebrities roll in the aisles. Smith, meanwhile, learned a valuable lesson that day. Don't pick a fight with a musician who possesses a mullet that could rival Cousin It's and a harmonica that could make a cat screech like a banshee. And maybe stick to acting next time, Will.
Okay, so I do have a question. What do violin strings smell like?
I don't know. That's a great question. That's the one thing I got out of there that I'm a little confused by.
Yeah, well, so apparently the Nuge moves on.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I kind of thought maybe, but I didn't think so either. So I don't know.
Well, you didn't even know he was the Motor City Madman. You thought he was the Metro City Madman.
Well, you know what? Let's, for the record, he is today known as the Metrosexual City Madman.
Okay.
Best I
Not
got.
to me. He was always the Motor City Madman. So, okay.
Yeah.
So Ted Nugent moves on. Let's get on to the next fight, which is Mel Gibson versus 6ix9ine. And if you remember, Mel Gibson threw down with Napoleon Dynamite and came out the victor. And 6ix9ine and Justin Bieber did some sort of hissy slap fight, and 6ix9ine came out of that the winner.
Wait, no, wasn't Bieber cry singing or something like that?
Yes, exactly. So let's see what AI had to say about this fight, Mel Gibson versus 6ix9ine. The Malibu air hung thick with tension, a far cry from the usual scent of sunscreen and celebrity gossip. On a secluded beach, two unlikely figures faced off. Mel Gibson, the weathered warrior of Hollywood, and 6ix9ine, the rainbow-haired rapper notorious for his flamboyant aggression. It all started with a misplaced beach ball. 6ix9ine, ever the attention seeker, launches towards a group of sunbathers, one of whom happened to be Mel Gibson. The ball ricocheted off Mel's weathered fedora, sending it tumbling into the surf. Infuriated, 6ix9ine unleashed a tirade of profanity, his rainbow grills glinting menacingly. Now, he knocked off Mel's fedora, yet 6ix9ine is upset by this. Okay, so we have some inconsistencies here.
Yeah.
Or we have misplaced anger issues. Mel, initially bemused, straightened to his full height. Years of fending off paparazzi and studio executives had honed his steely gaze. Son, he drawled, his voice laced with gravel, that ain't the way we settle things down here. 6ix9ine, mistaking Mel's calmness for weakness, lunged forward, a manic grin plastered on his face. But Mel, despite his age, moved with the agility of a jungle cat. He sidestepped the clumsy attack, grabbing 6ix9ine's arm and twisting it with a practiced judo move. The rapper yelled in surprise, his bravado momentarily deflating. The ensuing fight was a study in contrast. Mel, all controlled fury, using his Aikido training to direct 6ix9ine's wild swings. Each blocked punch, each expertly applied wrist lock, chipped away at the rapper's confidence. 6ix9ine, used to overpowering opponents with sheer brutality, found himself outmatched by Mel's tactical precision. Finally, with a swift kick to the knee, Mel brought 6ix9ine crashing to the sand. The rapper lay sprawled, his face ashen, the rainbow glitter now smeared like war paint. Mel extended a hand, not in triumph, but in weary resignation. Let's call it a draw, kid, he said. 6ix9ine, humbled and bruised, took the offered hand. The paparazzi, who had materialized like hungry gulls, captured the unlikely scene. The bloodied rapper and the stoic victor, a testament to the fact that sometimes old school grit trumps new age bluster. News of the beach brawl spread like wildfire. Mel Gibson's image transformed from reclusive actor to beachside badass. As for 6ix9ine, he learned a valuable lesson. Respect the elders, even if they come bearing surfboards and weathered fedoras. And the next time someone's beach ball goes astray, well, maybe just apologize.
What? Wait, hold on.
So first of all, Mel Gibson won, if anybody didn't get that.
So Mel won, but he offered his hand and said it's a draw?
But it says later on that he's the victor, so AI was showing some humility on Mel that I'm not really sure he's known for.
Yeah, it's probably coming from his Passion of the Christ era.
Whatever it is, somehow Mel Gibson won to move on to round 3.
Yeah, it'll be 3. Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Mel Gibson, what a little fucker. I'm not upset. I'm just, I
confused.
Very confused.
I'm kind of confused on that one too.
All right, cool. So I'm not alone. So I have the next fight of the night where we have the Olsen twins taking on Howard Wolowitz. And to get here, the Olsen twins defeated Kim Kardashian, while Howard Wolowitz defeated none other than Larry the Slovenly Cable Guy. It's
Slovenly. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I went deep on that one. And I almost mispronounced it, so probably did. Somebody's going to get me for it. One of our 7 listeners. But anyway. So, launching into the Olsen twins versus Howard Wolowitz. The Olsen twins, adorable whirlwinds of fury, strutted onto the Big Bang Theory set, ready to rumble with Howard Wolowitz, the king of nerdy mayhem. The battle was a clash of cuteness and chaos. The Olsen twins attacked with a barrage of high-pitched squeals and karate chops, while Howard retaliated with a flurry of Star Wars puns and squeaky noises from his robotic contraptions. The Olsen twins, their tiny forms flailing like pinballs, tried to dodge Howard's laser pointers and whoopee cushions, but their agility was no match for his nerdy arsenal. Howard, cackling like a mischievous gremlin, his glasses slipping down his nose, unleashed a barrage of Star Wars trivia that left the Olsen twins utterly perplexed. The coup de grace? Howard whipped out his trusty robotic arm and activated its vacuum cleaner attachment, sucking up the Olsen twins' squeals like a mischievous Hoover. The Olsens, their voices silenced, looked on in dismay as Howard twirled them around like rag dolls, his triumphant squeaks echoing through the room. The audience, a mix of stunned onlookers and amused fans, erupted in laughter as the Olsen twins, reduced to giggling pixies, were carried off by Howard, who declared himself the undisputed champion of nerdery. From that day on, Howard became the Nerd King, the Wolowitz who vanquished the Olsen twins with a vacuum cleaner and a mind full of Star Wars trivia. And the Olsen twins? Well, let's just say they learned that even the cutest pixies couldn't withstand the power of a nerdy genius with a vacuum cleaner and the love of Star Wars. Lesson here? Never pick a fight with a nerd who can silence your high-pitched squeals like a Hoover and defeat you with a barrage of Star Wars trivia. Maybe stick to fashion next time, Olsen twins.
So AI has all of a sudden decided that it needs to throw morals at the end of this.
Every time. I don't understand it.
And Howard Wolowitz does not have glasses. And I thought that in the back of my head when I talked about his glasses slipping down his face. And I had to go look while we were doing this. Howard Wolowitz, Simon Helberg does not wear glasses. Only Leonard wore glasses on that show.
He never did?
He never did.
Interesting.
So AI flubbed a little bit on that one. Now, Howard Wolowitz obviously still won, but it didn't get the details as correct as it's been getting them before.
Interesting. I mean, this is also a little bit of an interesting experiment for us, right?
Yeah, I work in the AI adjacent space, getting data ready for AI and talking about retrieval augmented generation. And this is interesting to see where it's actually failing from a work perspective in a way that I absolutely cannot tell any single client that I ever approach how it's failing, because there'd be no way to explain this.
Oh, please somehow weave this into your daily talk track. Please, especially the Mel Gibson one. I think the Mel Gibson one's still the most confusing one.
It's confusing. The Howard Wolowitz one is the first one that we could say is really wrong. So, anyways, let's move on. So the next fight that we have is Mark Hamill, who defeated Elon Musk, and Pauly Shore, who beat Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. And what you couldn't see was Ryan soft golf clapping over to the side when I said that Elon Musk got defeated. So.
The truth.
But so we're Mark Hamill versus Pauly Shore. Luke Skywalker versus, I don't know, Biodome guy.
The Weasel.
The Weasel, yeah. Okay, let's get into this. The air crackled with an unexpected voltage in the dimly lit confines of the Comedy Store. On stage, two unlikely titans of entertainment squared off. Pauly Shore, the Venice Beach bad boy with a penchant for bucket lists and surfer slang, and Mark Hamill, the legendary Jedi Master himself, lightsaber traded for microphone. It all started out as a good-natured roast. Hamill's playful barbs about Shore's filmology met with the comedian's signature slacker drawl and self-deprecating humor. But as the night wore on, the jabs turned sharper. fueled by years of pent-up creative rivalry. Oh, sorry, period at the end of that. Hamill used to galactic battles and epic duels, underestimated the scrappiness of his opponent. Shore, a master of comedic guerrilla warfare, unleashed a barrage of one-liners that hit Hamill like blaster bolts to the ego. Hey, Mark, Shore drawled in a mischievous glint. Ever heard of Encino Man? It's like Star Wars, but instead of spaceships, we have frozen cavemen and way better acting. The crowd roared with laughter, the tide turning in Shore's favor. Hamill, his usual charisma faltering, attempted to regain control with his Jedi mind tricks. Lightsaber sound effects, dramatic pronouncements, even a questionable Yoda impression. But Shore channeled the spirit of his iconic Badus parried each blow with effortless wit. The Badus, I got a feeling, is a name that's said differently, that I'm just saying it wrong. I don't remember the reference. Nice try, Skywalker, Shore quipped, but your impersonations are about as convincing as Jar Jar Binks in a Shakespearean play. The final blow came when Shore, in a stroke of improvisational genius, launched into a rap about the Force, complete with air lightsabers and rhymes that would make even Darth Vader chuckle. The crowd erupted, chanting Shore's name as Hamill, defeated and disarmed, bowed his head in mock surrender. As the curtain closed on this unlikely comedic duo, Pauly Shore, the underdog from the beach, stood triumphant. He had proven that even in the galaxy of Hollywood, sometimes a well-placed punchline can outshine a lightsaber. And Mark Hamill, ever the good sport, learned a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the comedic power of a bucket list.
So wait. The Jar Jar Binks line was really good.
Yes.
But how the fuck is Pauly Shore gonna beat Mark Hamill?
It's how it works.
Like, AI must have a thing against Mark Hamill.
Well, it must have a bigger thing against Elon Musk then.
Yeah. But the Jar Jar Binks shakes, that was a great line, man.
Yeah, that was. That's almost as good as the Oprah line last week.
The Oprah line still takes the cake. Still takes the cake. Oh, man. All right, so... all right, I'm going to stop laughing eventually. So I have a fun one. I'm excited for this one. We have Wee Man. If anyone's not aware, Wee Man is from Jackass, and last week he had won over Peter Dinklage, which was by happenstance. We did not intentionally do that. Again, that was done via a random number generator, not us. And George Santos, who somehow beat up King Charles. So,
well, he did have an enlarged prostate.
So stupid.
I mean, he is in surgery. He went into surgery this last week. He got such a beat down that he had to go get surgery done on his enlarged prostate.
I love that you're drawing parallels to our fictitious celebrity battle royale and saying that's what gave King Charles prostate problems. But I digress.
I have no comment on that. That's too ridiculous to even comment on.
Open table or a forum if you want to. Anyway, Wee Man versus George Santos. Here we go. On a dusty Hollywood soundstage, Wee Man, the pint-sized prankster, squared off against George Santos, a towering figure with a booming voice full of lies. Oh, wow. It's already starting off.
Wow.
The air cackled with anticipation as the unlikely pair prepared to engage in a battle of epic proportions. Wee Man, fueled by his signature mischievous spirit, unleashed a flurry of rapid-fire attacks, dodging and weaving with the agility of a small hummingbird. Santos, ever the stoic giant, absorbed the blows with a stoic expression, his imposing presence casting a shadow over the diminutive Wee Man.
Just for the record, we're seeing the short and large jokes again early in this one.
I know. They're, It was
That
bad
is
last week,
not
though.
us, people.
Yeah, not
Not
us at
us.
all. As the fight intensified, Wee Man's energy seemed to wane, while Santos grew stronger, his every move radiating an aura of unstoppable power and lies. Wow, they are all about the lies.
Yep.
uh, with a final earth-shattering roar, Santos unleashed a mighty blow, sending Wee Man flying through the air like a tiny Dorito and a ragdoll in a tornado. This is not us writing it, folks. Not us.
We don't have to keep saying that. I think we've indemnified
Uh,
ourselves enough.
I hope. The audience erupted in laughter as Wee Man landed with a soft thud, his face a picture of comical dismay. Santos, triumphant and grinning like a Cheshire cat, raised his arms in victory, his booming voice echoing through the studio. From that day on, George Santos became the undisputed king of the soundstage, the giant who vanquished Wee Man with the power of his laughter-inducing roar. And Wee Man, well, let's just say that he learned even a pint-sized prankster can't withstand the might of a towering goofball with a booming laugh and lies. Lesson: don't mess with a giant with a sense of humor and lies.
Okay, so I didn't tell AI to add lessons to the end of this. I'm assuming you didn't either.
No.
Why are we getting lessons out of this? Why are we getting morals?
I don't know.
This is the stupidest thing ever. There's no morals that can ever come from this.
Well, we're getting them
Yeah.
over and over and over again. I think. Well, you had it at the end of yours last one too, right?
Yeah. I had it at the beginning one too.
So, I mean, I guess this tool is all about moral learnings.
In
Yeah,
an immoralist concept.
well,
By the way, before we get to the next set, I should let you say who won that one.
uh, George Santos.
Yes. Okay. Not our favorite person in the whole world.
No.
We're both willing to admit that. But I came up with a slogan for this.
Oh,
It's like March Madness with all the madness and none of the March.
it's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So, anyways, so George Santos moves on. Let's get to our next fight, which is an interesting one. It is Samuel L. Jackson who beat up Jay Leno because Jay Leno was distracted by his wife's dementia, I'm guessing. See, I'm bringing this all back to current events.
I know, you're
And
doing good.
Aquafina, who beat up the idiot known as Yee. So we get Samuel L. Jackson versus Aquafina. I started reading ahead, and you will not hear the word motherfucker in this one. I was shocked. But let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, I there was two of them last time, so I was surprised there's none this time. So the neon pulse of the karaoke bar throbbed like a renegade heartbeat, amplifying the simmering tension between the unlikely sparring partners, Samuel L. Jackson, Hollywood tycoon with a voice that could curdle milk, and Aquafina, the pint-sized rapper whose rhymes packed the wallop of a rogue firework.
Okay.
Not a good visual there.
Also,
it all started with a friendly rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody. Jackson, fueled by tequila and misplaced confidence, belted out the operatic sections with gusto, oblivious to the off-key caterwauling that was his attempt at Freddie Mercury's falsetto. Aquafina, initially amused, found her tolerance wearing thin with each butchered note. When Jackson, emboldened by his own questionable performance, launched into a rendition of Ice Ice Baby, complete with Vanilla Ice dance moves, Aquafina snapped. I think everybody would snap at that exact moment. Grabbing the mic, she unleashed a lyrical counteroffensive, her rapid-fire verses laced with enough wit and venom to make even Jules Winfield wince. Who's Jules Winfield?
Jules Winfield? Okay, I don't know either.
This is weird. Yo, step aside, Uncle Sam, she rapped. I can hear Crazy Rich Asians in my head when she says that. Her queen's drawl sliced through the bar's din. This ain't Pulp Fiction. This is mic drop and redemption. The crowd, initially stunned, roared with approval as Aquafina unleashed a verbal beatdown. roasting Jackson's acting choices, his questionable fashion sense, and even his infamous purple lightsaber. Jackson, disarmed by the sheer audacity of his opponent, found himself flustered, his usual swagger replaced with a sheepish grin. He attempted to retaliate, his booming voice struggling to match Aquafina's nimble flow. But each comeback felt forced, each punchline landing with the thud of a dropped mic stand. Excuse me. By the time Aquafina dropped the final verse, a flawless freestyle ode to karaoke dominance, the victor was clear. It's not clear who the victor is to me at this point.
I'm having a hard time following along because some of the Jules thing that threw me way off because I'm like, I don't know who that is.
So there's more. The bar erupted in cheers, hailing Aquafina as the unlikely karaoke champion. Jackson, humbled and surprisingly gracious, bowed his head in mock defeat. Damn, kid, he chuckled, clapping his hands. You got skilled. Consider this Pulp Fiction rebooted. You win this round. As the night wore on, the unlikely camaraderie blossomed between the two. Jackson, impressed by Aquafina's talent and spirit, offered her some sage advice, while Aquafina regaled him with tales of her queen's hustler beginnings. The neon lights faded, but the memory of the night Samuel L. Jackson got schooled by Aquafina at karaoke lived on, a testament to the fact that sometimes the smallest voices can drop the biggest beats. And who knows, maybe somewhere in Hollywood, a new Pulp Fiction reboot is in the works, with Aquafina wielding the ultimate weapon, a microphone hotter than Jules Winfield Walther's PPK.
What the? Who is this Jules Winfield?
I don't know. And why is she sporting a PPK?
And can we?
I got to see who Jules Winfield is.
Because for the record, let's please not reboot Pulp Fiction. Let that one movie.
That's his character in Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
yeah.
So they made the reference. Okay, all right, okay. Oh, that's pretty damn good then.
Yeah, but now it shows both of us didn't pay much attention to Pulp Fiction.
Well, we should move on before anyone sniffs that out.
So, moving on, Aquafina advances to round 3.
That's all right. That's wild. Well, I have the last fight of the night, and this is going to be a doozy. So we have Oprah Winfrey, who progressed past the Orange Goblin Donald Trump last week, and Robert Downey Jr., who
the weakest Avenger.
Just gonna let the pause exist so you can say that. Beat up
every time.
But he beat up Matt Gaetz to advance. So Oprah Winfrey versus Robert Downey Jr. No? Okay. I thought you were going to do it again.
I didn't have to. Oh, sorry. The weakest Avenger. I thought I have to say it once per episode when his name is mentioned. Otherwise, I have to stop you every single time you say his name.
Yeah.
In this.
And then it'd be a lot. Okay, fair. All right. So we'll see if this is as good as the Oprah Donald fight from last week, because that was fantastic and had probably one of my favorite quotes in a while. And it came from AI.
I got to remember to put that up on our Twitter feed.
Yeah. That, because that was a great one. Yeah. Okay. In the heart of Hollywood, Oprah Winfrey, the queen of the talk show world, stepped into the ring, ready to rumble with Robert Downey Jr., the charismatic Iron Man himself. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation as these two powerhouses prepared for an epic showdown. Oprah, her eyes blazing with determination, unleashed a flurry of verbal jabs, her voice resonating with the power of 1,000 Oprah Winfrey shows. Downey Jr., ever the charming rogue, countered with witty retorts and playful banter, his words as sharp as his Iron Man wit. This is not so great so far.
Yeah, it also, last time it couldn't really tell the difference between Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr., so we're seeing a difference in this one.
Yeah, it improved there, but as the battle intensified, Oprah's words began to cut through Downey Jr.'s defenses, leaving him stunned and speechless. With a final earth-shattering monologue, Oprah delivered a knockout blow, leaving Downey Jr. utterly defeated with a witty facade crumbling like a stale croissant. The audience erupted in thunderous applause as Oprah raised her arms in triumph, her face beaming with the satisfaction of a battle well fought. Downey Jr., clutching his wounded ego could only watch in admiration as Oprah reigned supreme, the talk show titan who vanquished Iron Man with the power of her words. From that day on, Oprah Winfrey became the undisputed champion of the talk show world, the queen who vanquished Iron Man with with the force of her charisma. And Downey Jr., well, let's just say he learned that even the world's most charming superhero can't withstand the might of an Oprah Winfrey monologue. Lesson: never underestimate the power of words, especially when they come from the queen of talk shows herself, Oprah. That was dumb.
Yeah, yeah. You
I'm
got
just
another lesson in yours, though. I didn't have a lesson at the end of my last one, so
yeah, I'm getting a lesson every time, and
yeah,
it's really not prompted. But for the record, Oprah won, but it was via some pretty normal banter. Apologies to everyone for making that remarkably unremarkable.
yeah. Okay, well, so let's go through the winners this week.
Yep.
In Tinky Winky versus Matt Lauer, Tinky Winky goes to round 3.
We have between Ted Nugent and Will Smith. Ted Nugent advances to round 3.
Yeah, an oldie but a goldie. Mel Gibson defeats 6ix9ine.
Then we have Olsen twins falling victim to Howard Wolowitz.
We have the saddest of the wins, Pauly Shore beating Mark Hamill.
Yeah, this is and then we have Wee Man being vanquished by George Santos.
The giant, apparently.
Yeah.
We have Samuel L. Jackson losing his motherfucking shit to Aquafina.
And then we have Oprah Winfrey monologuing the ever-living shit out of Robert Downey Jr. in one of the most boring shit throwdowns we've ever heard.
So if you're keeping track at home, keep your updates on your tracking sheets. I will update the website when this releases, and keep on following for round 3 coming up shortly.
Yeah, and you can check this all out on repressedhumorissues.com. But let's call this mini-sode wrapped.
Okay, so you want to do our normal exit, or are you just going to say, let's just cut it off?
Fine. Stay classy, Ohio.
Oh, no, don't, Ohio. Just don't bother.
No.
Yeah, just don't. So he's not going to say it. So I'm Dan.
Oh, I'm Ryan. Yeah, I forgot that part. Yes, I'm Ryan.
Yes.
And we are Repressed Humor Issues. Until next time.
Bye, everybody.
Hey. Here.
Okay, this is the point where you normally start the show.
I know. My brain. I'm in Sweden.
Okay, how about you introduce the show and then you explain why this is our international edition?
Fine. All right.